Good evening, church family. I'm Philip, and once again, here we are for our midweek devotions as we continue to do our devotional series like this during this time of pandemic. Now, I'm excited about today's passage because as we get into today's passage in Psalm 46, what we see is we see this psalm that's addressing a pandemic almost, a crisis much like we're in. Now, if you're anything like me, you tend to watch the news and you tend to read a lot, and maybe you tend to ask questions like, is this going to go up or down? Will this escalate? How much of a danger are we in, our friends? And we get in and we ask those questions, and it's easy to move to panic, perhaps, or it's easy to move to fear, or it's easy to move to worry. And in this psalm, what we see is that God is calling us to something much different. And this psalm is actually revolutionary. And so I trust that as you go through this psalm with me, you'll not only be blessed, but you will be grown and deepened in your walk with God as well. So Psalm 46, open it up with me and let's go through. And I just want to make 3 points regarding the psalm. God is for us, God is with us, and God is able. Let's take a look at the first point as we get into Psalm 46. God is for us. Now, listen to what we read in verses 1 through 3. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth give way, and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though the waters roar, and the foam and the mountains quake with their surging. Now, notice what he's talking about. He's talking about some of the worst possible natural disasters, and he is saying, even when things like this happen, even when the mountains, think of a mountain range that is so big and so vast, but it crumbles with an earthquake, and the mountains themselves fall into the sea. Think of earthquakes that are so shattering that it levels entire continents, or think of mountains that are overrun by the waters and tsunamis. And here, the psalmist is saying, think of the worst possible natural disasters, and then go back to verse 1. God is our refuge even then. God is our strength even then. God even then, in the worst imaginable place, is an ever-present help in trouble. Here's what he is saying. God is for us. And if God is for us, who can possibly be against us? And the point that the psalmist makes here is this. Can you imagine the confidence that you would have if you were able to say, you know what, come what may, God is for me. I know God is for me. In the midst of a pandemic, as close as it might come to me and my loved ones and my family, God is for me. There is nothing beyond God's control. And so Psalm 46 reminds us of that. God is for us. He is bigger than anything that we would ever face. And then Psalm 46 takes us to yet another point. Not only is God for us, but God is with us. Go to verse 4 with me and on. Here's what we read in verse 4. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy place where the Most High dwells. God is within her, within this city. She will not fall. God will help her at the break of day. Nations are in an uproar. Kingdoms fall. He lifts his voice and the earth melts. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. And the message is clear. There is no earthly city, there is no earthly fortress, there is no earthly nation that can protect us from what might happen. That there is no kingdom on earth that can protect us from the natural disasters that might come our way, including pandemics. And isn't that true? Here we have a virus that has basically closed down all of the countries, all of the nations of the world. And not only has it closed down the nations of the world, but the strongest economies of the world are beginning to crumble. And so he says, all this might fall. Every city, their walls might be broken down, that they might be plundered through, but not this city, not the city of God. And here he's talking about a kingdom that will not be shaken, a kingdom that will not fall. When you and I know God is king, He reigns in us and He reigns over us.